All right, this video is for the lesson 6.1 homework. Today we are factoring polynomials. We have already factored quadratics, but you're going to have to be able to factor cubics. So we're going to review a little bit with factoring quadratics, and then I'm going to show you how to factor a cubic. So number one, what is the name of the highest degree of any of the terms in a polynomial expression? This is the degree of, hang on, thank you. Over there, nope. Over there, there's a couple.
Over there, there's a couple. Almost there. Behind you, there's a couple.
Degree of a polynomial. That's like this right here. So the highest degree is 2, the highest exponent is 2. This is a degree 2 polynomial. Highest exponent here is a 3. So this is a degree 3 polynomial. Please turn that off. I'm recording a video for all of my classes. All right, number 2, what is the name of the sum of the powers on the variables in a term? This is the degree of a term. So same thing, this is a second degree term. This one down here is a third degree term. All right, so we're going to start off with quadratics. So what we're doing is we're factoring. Okay, so when we factor how we did quadratics, 5x squared plus 26x minus 24. There's two ways we can do this. We can slip and slide or we can factor. So slip and slide is when we took the number that was here and slipped it to the back. So x squared plus 26x, and then we did negative 24 times 5. Negative 24 times 5 is negative 120. Okay, so then from here is where we can factor it. So we know if this is an x, we're going to be x and x, right? All right, so I need two numbers that multiply to make a negative 120 and add to make a 26. Now, since these signs are different, right, we know one of these is going to be a plus, one of them is going to be a minus. So right off the bat, let's see, what are two numbers that'll multiply to make a 120?
12 times 10.
12 and 10. But no matter how that I add those,
They won't go up.
it's not going to add up to 26. So let's see what else will go into 120. So 120, so we did 12, 13 won't, 14 won't, 15. So 15 times 8,
Well, that won't go up to 26.
that won't go up either, okay? So 16, 17, 18, so probably 20. 20 and 6, yeah, but still.
And that would be 26.
Yeah, but one's got to be a positive and one's got to be a negative to make this negative.
Dang it, Miss Starlin.
So, but that's still right.
But how?
But one of them has to be a negative, though.
Yeah, one of them has to be a negative.
Maybe you wrote it out wrong, or it's
No, we didn't write it out wrong.
We didn't write it out wrong.
no solution? Question mark.
I thought the old rule was like the little number was.
Yeah, but it has to still like subtract to equal that.
My brain's not working.
What about, oh, okay, wait. What about 30? 120 divided by 30.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, so 30 times 4, which one's positive?
4. 30. No, 4's negative.
30 and then 4, right? Because 30 times a negative 4 gives me a negative 20. 30 plus a negative 4 gives me a 26. Okay, but I'm not done.
But I like the slip and slide more than that.
I know. So I slipped.
And I gotta slide.
Okay, we're not sliding yet.
Slide for one.
So we slipped a 5, right? So now we divide these by 5. Okay, that's how you undo what you did.
So we're gonna have 1-4
So 30 divided by 5 is a 6. And then remember, we don't do, if it simplifies down to a fraction, this is where your slide comes. You slide that 5 back in front of the x. Okay?
So that's our solution.
That's your factoring. Is x plus 6, 5x minus 4. That's slip and slide. Now you can slip and slide any quadratic. Okay? The grouping method is really similar to that. So what we would do on the grouping method,
And that's our final answer, right?
that's your final answer. You would get your C value, or it's called your AC, A and C. 3 times a negative 4 is a negative 12. And so you know how this factors out is you break this one down, but you can't really, I don't know how to describe it. Again, all my algebra kids choose slip and slide for quadratics, okay? So we would slip this 3 to the end. 3 times a negative 4 is a negative 12. All right, same thing happens here. We're going to have x plus and an x minus. X plus something, x minus something. All right, two numbers that multiply to give me a negative 12.
3 and 4.
3 and 4. If one's positive, one's negative, will it make me remember invisible math? A 1?
Yes.
So the 3 will be
Negative.
4.
4 will be positive.
3 is negative, 4 is positive. Because 4 plus negative 3 gives me a positive 1. 4 times negative 3 gives me a negative 12.
Now we got it.
Divide everything by
Divide everything. Well, the constants. The constants by 3. So 4/3 doesn't simplify.
So it's going to be 3x.
So I slide it back in front.
and then it's just
3 over 3 simplifies to a negative 1.
that's easy.
Mm-hmm. That's slip and slide.
Yeah, I like
The other one is like that box method crap, right?
You can box method. Well,
I hate that.
here's the thing though, with cubics, we have to use the grouping method, but it's not as awful as you think, okay?
What's grouping method?
Okay, here's grouping method. You cannot slip and slide cubics. All right, grouping method. Group the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. So we have 2x cubed minus 2x squared plus x minus 1. Okay. Split the cubic down the middle. And then factor out any greatest common factors. So, the coefficients. Is there a common coefficient? 2. Or if it was 2 and 4, 2 would still be a common coefficient, right? You can factor that 2 out. So out of these 2, I know I can factor a 2 out. What about x cubed and x squared? Is there a common factor there?
With the X.
The x, but squared, right? Okay.
Won't the other one go to 2x?
Mm-hmm. So if I take a 2 out of this, that leaves no coefficient,
So
right?
it's just
If I take an x squared out of this, that leaves me with an x. Okay?
the negatives just be on you.
Now, 2x squared, if I factor a 2x squared out, I'm left with a 1. Remember, you're trying to think, so working backwards, 2x squared times x gives me 2x cubed. 2x squared times a negative 1 gives me negative 2x squared. You can kind of work backwards. Now, there's nothing I can factor out of here, right? But there's still an invisible 1. I need that invisible 1 there because once you get either what you factored out the same or what's left over the same, you make another set of groups. So this goes with this, okay? And then, since this and this is the same, those are my factors. So here's my factors. This and this smushed together now. 2x squared plus 1. And then since this repeats, x minus 1. Yeah, you should have done this in algebra 2.
I didn't have that.
Okay. that's your answer, right?
Mm-hmm. Because this is equal to this.
Yeah.
Because when you would FOIL this out, 2x squared times x minus 1, and then 1 times x minus 1. So you're just condensing. And you can FOIL this back out to check to make sure it gets back to this if you want to go that far. So 2x squared plus 1, x minus 1.
That one's gonna get me a couple times.
It's just whatever repeats, you write down once, and then whatever doesn't repeat from each of your groups smushes together. Okay? All right. That's a, ooh, what did I do here? Plus, oh, I don't need this at the end. It's this one. Okay. So make two groups, 4x cubed minus 2x squared. Now, this minus sign,
Oh, wait, are we doing number 8?
9.
We're doing 9.
Here's how I do this. Plus a negative. Change the subtraction. If that middle operation is subtraction, add a line, change the sign. Because you want this to be a plus. And then this is negative 6x plus 3.
Don't you have to fix everything else here?
No.
Where did the negative come from? Why would you just change it?
Because you don't want that subtraction there, because then you do have to apply it to everything.
When you do that. So
Okay.
if you didn't do that, you'd end up having to distribute.
So wait. 2 minus 6, right? Is the same as 2 plus a negative 6. There is no such thing as subtraction. Literally, there is no such thing as subtraction. Every subtraction problem, you can add a line, change the sign. You can change every single subtraction into addition. But you don't want to have to mess with distributing a negative. Minus 6x means it's plus a negative 6x. It's the same thing. Okay. So common factor of the coefficient, 4 and 2. What's my common factor? 2. 2x squared. So, sorry, it froze. So, to make it into a 4, I need another 2. 2 times 2 is 4. X squared times x. X squared times x gives me x cubed. And then a negative 1. Because 2x squared minus 1, or times negative 1, gives me the negative 2x. All right, negative 6 and positive 3. What can I factor out of that? 3. But I want to get rid of that negative 2 in front of. I hate negatives in front of, right? If it's here, that's fine. But I don't like them here. So how would I get rid of that negative at the same time? A negative 3. I'm just going to stick it in parentheses to indicate that that's a negative, not plus minus. Okay, so I'm going to factor a negative 3 out. So negative 3 times what gives me a negative 6? 2. And I also need to add an x to that, right? Negative 3 times 2x gives me negative 6x. All right, negative 3 times what gives me a positive 3? Negative 1.
Is it always gonna be a negative 1?
No.
Because there's a negative 1 on each side.
You have to have something that matches.
So then,
So this matches this, right? Which means whatever's left over is what gets combined.
I got you.
So 2x squared plus negative 3, I can write as 2x squared minus 3. Same thing, plus a negative is the same as subtraction. And then whatever repeats, 2x minus 1. So whatever repeats only gets written down once.
So if it doesn't repeat, then you like messed up somewhere.
You should have something that repeats. So see how x minus 1 repeated here? So 2x squared minus 3, 2x minus 1. All right, so that left you 2 slip and slides Uh-huh.
When you distribute, when you see like it's not be a negative,
8, you would split this 6x cubed minus 2x squared plus 3x minus 1.
but when you distribute, leave like,
Distribute what?
not distribute, or like vector it,
Uh-huh.
would you leave, like, would you pull out a negative in the front, or would it be, would you just leave the negative in the parentheses?
You can leave the negative in the parentheses.
Just depends on what you need to make a match.
So on this one, I just did it.
So like here, there's no common factor between 3x and negative 1. Not a common coefficient, nothing. So what you're going to pull out of this is a 1, which means this one, part of it, one of the pieces is going to be 3x minus 1, because you know you're going to have that with this group. Since that cannot be factored down any, you know you're going to have to pull a 3x minus 1 out of this somewhere. Or be left with the 3x minus 1.